G'day guys, welcome back. Today's stories are a bit crazy. I've picked up some tales from Reddit threads and local Aussie forums that'll absolutely blow your mind. Like, seriously, how can people even do this? The first story is about a bloke whose neighbour was doing something behind his house that wasn't just illegal, but creepy as well. And the third story? Definitely don't miss that one, because it involves some corporate revenge that's every employee's dream. So, grab a coffee, sit back, and let's get into it. Story 1. The Fence War. So, the first story comes from a suburb in Melbourne. There's this bloke, let's call him Mark. Mark bought a new house. Everything was perfect, until he met his neighbour, Barry. Barry reckoned he was the boss of the entire street. One day Mark comes home from his office and sees that Barry has shifted the fence between them 2 feet into Mark's side. Mark asked, "Mate, what are you doing?" Barry straight up told him to his face, "This is my land, deal with it." Instead of losing his cool, Mark used his head a bit. He got a land survey done and found out that the fence Barry built was actually sitting right on top of the main water pipes that connect to Barry's property. Mark thought, okay, revenge is a dish best served cold. He sent a legal notice and Barry was forced to tear that fence down. But the twist came when Barry demolished the wall and something came out from underneath that forced them to call the police. It was a hidden basement extension that Barry had built without any permission. Imagine that. Barry's entire extension was ripped out and he copped a $50,000 fine. Moral of the story? Mess with your neighbour, but only after checking the property papers. Story 2. The Wedding Disaster. Now, let's move on to the second story. This one's about a sister who ruined her own biological sister's wedding. But was she actually in the wrong? Her sister's wedding was on the Gold Coast. Absolutely lavish, expensive wedding. But the bride had set one rule: no kids allowed. Which is fine, right? But she told her own sister, "You can't bring your 6-month-old baby." Now the problem was, the sister didn't have a babysitter. She requested, "Mate, it's my baby, I'll keep him quiet." But the bride flat out refused. Then what happened? On the wedding day, the sister didn't go. The bride reckoned she'd show up anyway. When she didn't, the bride called her right in the middle of the ceremony and started screaming. The sister calmly picked up the phone and said, "Since you saved money on my baby's plate, I decided to save money on your wedding gift." And she cancelled that $2,000 check she had given as a gift. Guess what? That check was supposed to cover the wedding catering bill. Now people are fighting in the comments. Was she wrong? I reckon she did exactly what was needed. What do you lot think? Story 3. The Ultimate Corporate Revenge. Okay, last story. This one's my favourite. An employee was sacked by his boss just because he took a sick leave when his mental health was a bit down. The boss said, "If you can't work, you're useless." That bloke didn't show any anger. He just quietly returned his laptop. But there was one thing the boss forgot. That bloke handled the company's entire IT infrastructure and he was the only one with all the passwords. The next morning, when the whole company tried to log in, everything was locked. The boss called him up. "Fix this right now." The bloke said, "Sorry mate, I'm useless, remember?" He said he'd only hand over the passwords once the company gave him 6 months severance pay and a written apology. The boss had no other choice. He paid up, wrote the apology, and only then did he get the passwords. That is what we call a pro-gamer move. So, those were today's stories. These kinds of things happen every day in Australia, but people just don't talk about them. If you've got a story like this too, then write it down in the comments below. I'll cover it in the next video. And yeah, if you like the video, make sure to subscribe. See you next time. Cheers.